TGR.
Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 6 months later. PS5 came out on November 12th, 2020, and it's been an interesting ride, to say the least. When it first came out, it was incredibly hard to get, and not much has changed since then. Availability has been an issue, as well as the games that are on the console. It's a great console, but nothing in this world is perfect. Nothing in this world is without critique. And that's what we're doing now. Ain't that right, buddy?
Oh, yeah. We're going to critique the heck out of this console and what do we think of it. But mainly also talk about our experience with it as well, and what we like, what we dislike, and kind of what we're looking forward to in the future, and what's going to come our way. Obviously, you know, we're recording this on the 6th of May, the Revenge of the 6th, and we're really just trying to see if everything that was shown to us these past 6 months and before hyping up this console, if it's true, if Sony has delivered, as well as its publishing partners and developing partners, and so on and so forth. So I think that one of the biggest selling points when it comes to any console, whether Nintendo, Xbox, Sony, or PC, if you were to consider that, or is its own outright platform, are the games. The games are what sell the console, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that looking at the games that are exclusive to the PlayStation 5, I'm not talking, cross-gen or things that, are like, for example, Resident Evil Village, which is coming out this weekend. Like, I'm talking games that are exclusive to PlayStation 5. There aren't that many.
Right. And that's the thing. When you think about consoles, most people buy a console for like two reasons. One, are my friends playing on this console? And two, are my favorite games going to be on this console? Right? And when you think of PlayStation and you think of the games that they've done before and some that will come back and some that will never come back, there's a certain demographic to that, right? People that like, for better or worse, cinematic adventure games. Those are very, very big when you think of PlayStation exclusives. So they have this repertoire of titles and studios and IPs that they could pull at any moment. When the PlayStation 5 launched, it launched with 3 games that were a must-buy back then, right? Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, and actually, the third one wasn't even a must-buy. It was a tech demo that came with your PlayStation 5. That was Astro's Playroom. And one of those isn't even exclusive to the console. It's a cross-gen game on PS4 as well. That's Miles Morales. So when we talk about the game's quantity, we, like Rudy said, we're going to look specifically at PS5 exclusives. And we looked at a list before we started recording, and there's really only 4 games that are exclusively on the PlayStation 5. And 2 of those I've already mentioned. Astro's Playroom, which again is a really, really good glorified tech demo, but it's a game. I don't want to downplay it. It's a good game. So Astro's Playrooms, Demon's Souls, Returnal, that just came out recently, and then Destruction All Stars, which was a game. So we've got we've got four games in 6 months that are exclusively next gen or current gen, really, video games titles. Do you think that's a reasonable number to have in 6 months?
No, not at all. And like there's a lot of reasons, excuses that we can come up with, but I've said this before in the past. When it came to the PlayStation 4 and pretty much any console lineup, it's always this, I'm going to wake up, like consoles waking up, it's slowly, groggily getting things going and moving the boulder, so to speak, and pushing and going to work and so on and so forth. And with the PlayStation 5, it wasn't any different. The only thing is that with previous console releases, there was more more exclusive titles that were there that sold the consoles. And this time around, I feel like it's so lackluster that it makes me question whether a PlayStation 5 is even worth getting right now at this moment. We've talked about this before when we talked about Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls was, without a doubt, it felt next gen. It felt beautiful. Amazing, amazing. And now even with the Returnal, I'm sure that you and I can both agree that it still looks beautiful, looks amazing, plays great. But at the end of the day, you know, that's not that many games. Less than a handful of games, man.
It's not. We're talking 4. We're talking 4. And one of those, again, not downplaying Astro's Playroom whatsoever, but it is a tech demo. It's a 3-hour, maybe 5-hour experience at most. And it's a really good one. It does feel next gen at certain points, especially because of the DualSense. But it's not a lot of games. There's also a whole nother section, right? We're talking now. We can talk about games that are on PS Plus. We can talk about games that are PS5 enhanced ports, which there are a good chunk of.
Right.
Resi 5, even though it has a PS5 version, it's essentially a PS5 enhanced port because there's a PS4 version and Xbox One version. So a PS5, like, it's not that it doesn't have a lot of games. Next gen overall does have a pretty solid library of games if you include last gen's library. If you don't, that's the issue.
Which arises the question: is a PlayStation 5 like? Is it a must-have right now?
Well, let's look at the other parts of our discussion, and we'll answer that question at the end. So, the games are like the soul of the console,
Right.
Right? It's what makes up that identity. But there's also another half, right? What's the personality of the console? It's features, baby.
Oh yeah.
Rudy, list off some features for me, man. What are some features on the PS5 that are unique to the PS5?
Hands down, without a doubt, the biggest and best thing that me as a techie loves about the PlayStation 5 is that SSD. Like, that SSD, it makes a huge difference. And I think we didn't really like put 2 and 2 together until we started playing a Monster Hunter with people that didn't have a PlayStation 5.
Right.
That's, at least for me, that's when I went ahead and I realized, oh wow, like, dude, whenever you and I hunt and it was just the two of us, it loaded so much faster and things happened so much faster. And I think that's really the quintessential difference in regards to that hardware on the PlayStation 5 versus the hardware that is in my PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, if I were to say anything else that is an amazing feature, it's the DualSense.
Hands down, hands up. That DualSense is really, really good. And Astro's Playroom really shows off a lot of the tech, that haptic feedback, the sound that comes out of that speaker, which at first I thought it was going to be really gimmicky, but after playing Returnal, definitely not. There's a lot of ways that we could use these controllers. For example, in Returnal, most of your weapons, actually all of your weapons, have an alt fire mode. When you press down on the left trigger, you will feel resistance, and that when you're at that point of resistance, you're just aiming down your sights. If you press it all the way down and you go past that resistance, then your alt fired mode is activated. And that is such an ingenious way of using that technology. Like, oh, your brain already knows, okay, this is where I'm going to stop to just zoom in. It's just such a cool feature, right? The feedback itself, too, the vibrations are insane in that game. It's just so different. And the speaker is also used in smart ways. Talking about the alt fire yet again. Once you use it, it's on a cooldown. If you try to use it again, you'll zoom in, but you'll see like the bar slowly going up, and you hear a really loud sound coming from your little speaker, telling you like, oh, it's charging. And if you're just running and shooting and gunning and everything, and you're not paying attention to that, you'll hear like a little like chime telling you, hey, your alt fire is ready, and it comes straight from your controller. That's so cool. That's innovative. That's a smart way of using the technology.
Yep. I 100% agree. Like, I think that everything, like we all talked about Astro's Playroom when it first came out, that it is a tech demo, and it showcases how well you can implement a lot of the features that are in the DualSense while you're playing the game. And I think Returnal is one of the few games that have been released that fully take advantage of all the features that are there, to the point to where you can feel the rain hitting you as a character.
Yes, little pitter patter.
And like, I didn't think of it. Like, I saw it on Twitter and I thought that it was, oh, this is cool. But when you experience it firsthand, I think that is the one thing that really starts to immerse you within this. And all of a sudden 3, 4, 5 hours pass by and you've died and restarted that cycle multiple times. But that's really it, man. Like, I think the DualSense, it's beautifully done. I don't know if other well, I guess Nintendo Switch or if Xbox will be able to replicate something similar to that or put to that degree of precision. But I do hope that that is something that a lot of third-party publishers are going to be taking advantage of in the future. That's
and I think they will. I mean, the Switch definitely, the Pro Controller does have haptic feedback. It's just, I would say it's less accurate than it is on the DualSense. I mean, it's a way nearer, controller,
right.
So it makes sense. But yeah, I think, Xbox has its own thing too. They have vibrating triggers. And for Resi 8, it's actually taking advantage of both. Resident Evil Village will take advantage of DualSense. It is having a lot of those features. And on the Xbox as well. It also has, you can feel the vibrations with different weapons and stuff. So you can tell that a lot of these creators are excited to have these like features available, And I love that because this is one of the things that actually does feel next gen. It's a new way to genuinely interact with the game, and not just in a interactive way. It's physical. You that feedback makes a big difference. This is a recent Rumble is in our controllers. When Rumble first came out, which I think it was on the first DualShock. I could be wrong. There might have been an earlier controller, but I know DualShock was the first like big Rumble controller. Ever since then, we have them. The Nintendo 64 created a Rumble Pack for a reason because they were like, "Oh shit, this makes a big difference." So Rumble is here for a reason, and the fact that they're finally now, really creating a way different like experience with Rumble. It's about time, man. It really does feel next gen. So DualSense is definitely one of those like truly good features of the PS5.
How do you feel about like the quick loads and like kind of like being able to like resume a game almost instantaneously while like, do you think that that's something that would have been possible if there was an SSD in the PlayStation 4 Pro?
Well, so you can't put an SSD on the PS4 Pro.
You can,
right? The console is not built around that because of course its CPU would bottleneck the hell out of any speeds, but no, it wouldn't. Right, the console was just not built that way. It would load faster, and that's the thing. If you remember on PS4 Pro, you could put your console on rest mode, and you could turn it back on, and you could pick up the game where you left off. It's just that now it loads incredibly faster to the point where you don't even need rest mode. You could genuinely turn off your console and turn it back on, do a full reboot, and within seconds you're already playing your game. You don't have to wait very very long at all, unlike on the PS4 where you did. So definitely the SSD and the speed are really exceptional. I wish that somehow Sony could do something similar to what the Xbox has, where you could play 2 games at once. You could literally put one on the background, load up another one, and if you're done with that one, go back to the other one. That would solve a lot of the issues with like Returnal, for example, and its no save system. But we don't have that. Will Sony ever try to implement that? Maybe. It would be cool to add. But yeah. And besides that, honestly, I also think that playing a lot of online games with you, fighting games, games like Monster Hunter and whatnot, the better Wi-Fi card that's on the PS5 really makes a difference. When we played together, like lag was almost hardly an issue. And even playing with Rain, right, who's in Germany, one of our community members, you could still tell there was lag because, okay, he's in fucking Germany. We're in Orlando, Florida. There's going to be some sort of lag. But it felt consistent, right? And that's the beauty of it, because he's also playing on a PS5 that's hardwired. So that shows you right there. The PS5 just has a better, like, just internet system. It has better connections. It has a better Wi-Fi card to make everything more smooth. Downloads are super quick as well. So honestly, in terms of features, I wish it had more customization. I feel like I can't, like with the PS4, there was tons of themes and things like that you could do. And that's not available yet. Will Sony do it? Hopefully. I don't want it to be like Nintendo and the Switch and just have a black and white, like a light and black and dark mode. Like, please give us more.
Yeah. A little bit more flair would be nice. I do agree with that. Like I liked being able to kind of like, put my favorite characters in the background and kind of like have like everything from like the interactivity and just the sounds and everything within the system change. I think that that's something that should definitely be implemented.
Yeah, I had a PS2 theme. I had a theme where you booted up your PS4 and it sounded like the PS2 boot up. That is so friggin' cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully Sony does that again. And also, I want custom control. I like different colored controllers as well.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, same. So yeah, I mean, really, those are the big things where we think about the PS5 6 months later. The other aspect of it is what's coming up, and let's be honest here. What's coming up, Rudy?
I mean, there's games, but there really isn't much, and this is twofold because I think that it's May 6th. E3 is right around the corner. And I know that Sony's not going to be at E3, but I could 100% see them being like, "Hey, we're gonna have a state of play like a day before, or
a day before, a couple days later,
after,
or even in the middle." Yeah.
They don't care. They're gonna go ahead and do it whenever they want. But looking into the grand scheme of things, like again, things look pretty scarce from a first-party perspective.
They do.
And things that are exclusive to the console, which is what we're talking about and focusing on throughout this entire podcast. Like, obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, that's coming out and is exclusive to the PlayStation 5 simply because it takes advantage of the hardware, correct?
Well, the DLC is exclusive to the PS5 as of now. We don't that could change, but they haven't said anything since its announcement. Mm-hmm. So the DLC itself, is obviously you can still play Remake on the PS4, obviously, but the new content is exclusive to the PS5, which is the Intermission DLC. And then Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Clank is coming out. Yep. Then Kenna Bridge of Spirits, if we're looking at purely consoles, because I'm pretty sure that they're coming out to EGS.
And that's also cross-gen with PS4.
Oh, so it is cross-gen with PS4. Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, Kenna's cross-gen.
Oh, dang. Well, that definitely goes ahead and changes things up.
So if you really want to be, so one DLC,
right,
and one full game,
and
that's what we know for sure for 2021.
For 2021, Final Fantasy 16, we don't know when that's going to come out. That's kind of like up in the air. God of War, that's up in the air. Horizon Forbidden West, but we don't have like a date or anything, do we? It's just, hey, we're working on it.
We just saw, it was just like a title card. I mean, we had a lot of CGI and setting the the mood and stuff, whatever, but
they announced Gran Turismo, if that counts, like Gran Turismo 7, right?
Right, it did. Yeah. I mean, they announced a bunch of stuff, so we know a bunch of games are coming, down the road. But when? What are we going to get this year? Right, the first year of the PS5. What can you tell your new owners that they got? Right. So, I guess we'll see after. We'll reconvene after E3 and see what we get. If we don't get anything from Sony, whether by a state of play, the tweet or something, then we'll still be here. But for now, I guess it's time to answer that question. Can you recommend a PS5 to someone if they can even find it?
It's genuinely extremely hard. Now, me personally, I like to be on the bleeding edge of technology. You know this. I will 100% admit that I like being on the edge of technology. So I like having a PlayStation 5. I like the features that come alongside with it, the performance boosts that come with things. But to play the games that I want to play, like here I am juggling Nier Replicant as well as a PS4 game, mind you, and Replicant, which is a PS5 exclusive.
Wait, you mean Returnal?
Or excuse me, Returnal. Thank you. You're fine. But Returnal, yes, which is a PS5 exclusive. Out of those two, like one is exclusive, the other one is not, and then the other one is Monster Hunter Rise. Those are the games that I'm juggling right now. Resident Evil Village, which comes out this weekend, that I could get on a PlayStation 4 and I'd be fine. That I could get on
Xbox
PC,
or on PC
and I'd be fine.
Like more than fine. That thing runs beautifully on PC.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like those are things that I'm sitting here and I'm just like, out of everything that I listed, there's only one game that I'm playing right now that I need a PlayStation 5 for.
And it just happened to be now because that game I think was originally scheduled last month. I think it was, and it got delayed, didn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Imagine if that game had come out last month. We would be having a different conversation. Would we even be playing Returnal at this point? A month later.
Who knows?
Right?
Who knows?
So, there is a global pandemic that definitely affected development. I know a lot of games are getting pushed out of 2021. But if I'm going to answer that question, it's honestly going to have to be a variable answer. It genuinely depends. If you have a good library of PS4 games that you still want to play and you're interested in playing now, right? And you do like the exclusives that are like in the near future coming out on the PS5, then I say it's a good investment to get, especially because of the features. However, if you're new to the Sony ecosystem and you've never owned a PlayStation, or you own a PS2 maybe, jumped off, with the PS3, and now you kind of want to get back in, it's a little bit of an easier recommendation because you have an entire backlog that is the PS4 to get through. That library is huge, really good exclusives there, and you have these little games here and there that are going to be coming out for the PS5. The only way that I couldn't recommend a PS5 right now is if you're a PC gamer with a Switch. I genuinely think it would be very hard to say, yo, you got to get a PS5 because most games you can play on a PC, and there's tons of really good exclusives on the Switch as well. So it's a hard sell at this point, but I do think the PS5 is a good console. I do think the PS5 has a ton, and I mean a ton, of potential. We just have to wait for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like I said, we're still in the wake-up phase of the PlayStation 5. It still hasn't gotten its coffee yet. It still needs to go ahead and brew it.
It's crazy. It's got an amazing SSD. Why is it so slow? Friggin' A.
Oh, man. But yeah, that's the gist of it, man. That's the gist of it.
That is. So, guys, thanks for listening. If you liked what we discussed, you know where to find us. The Gaming Resume. Anywhere and everywhere. We're probably going to be doing a follow-up video. Oh, yeah, follow all those things for sure. And we're going to be doing a follow-up video after E3 to discuss, hopefully, what games are actually coming to next gen.
Yep.
All our fingers are crossed to have a really good showing next month. But yeah, let us know if there's anything we missed. Let us know if there's any games that you feel should be mentioned, even if they're cross-gen or not, or even multi-platform as well. But yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more and stay up to date, subscribe, hit the little bell, and join our Discord.
If you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon or hit the join button below. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.